For this video, I'm going to be reacting to 10 biggest lies about the Philippines. Guys, if you don't know, it's been 5.5 years now in the Philippines, and I'm pretty much familiar with the Filipino culture and the food and everything about the Philippines. Almost everything, not everything, but almost everything about the Philippines. So I'm going to react to this video and try to give my thoughts about the video. If I agree with some of the points that has been stated there, or if I don't agree. But anyway, let's just get right into it, guys.
About the beauty of the country as well as the beauty of the people. Yet even still, there are many stereotypes, misconceptions, and straight up lies that have been put on as labels on the country.
That is actually Manila.
Welcome back to FTV Facts. My name is Leroy Kenton, and for this episode, I'm going to be looking at 10 of the biggest lies, stereotypes, and misconceptions about the Philippines. Okay, so let's get into this list. At number 10, Filipino women are submissive and quiet. Like every other country, though, women come in a variety of attitudes. Some a little bit more attitude-prone than others. But either way, Filipinos are just a conservative type of women.
That is
sources, Filipino women, they find it uncomfortable to mingle or even interact with male foreigners and even their own men. They also have a reputation of being quiet and shy, but this is normally because that they feel that they don't have the adequate skill of speaking English to the foreigners. So
that is actually true, guys. Filipino women in general, they're not quiet. Really, Filipinos generally are some of the noisiest people in the world. Like everywhere you go during social gatherings, just people like really love to make noise. And that is true. When it comes to speaking with foreigners, they tend to be a bit shy because they're more considerate of the English speaking skills. But yeah,
instead of speaking nonsense, they remain silent. The next lie is that the Philippines is one land mass. This is something that I've been guilty of thinking myself. But there's actually over 7,000 islands that make up the Philippines.
That's right.
Around 2,000 of them are inhabited. And this is known as an archipelago, which is a collection of islands, or sometimes a sea containing a small number of scattered islands. Now, the Philippines has a total land area of 300,000 square kilometers, which works out to be 115,831 square miles.
That is actually Pasig River in Manila.
Largest island country. The Philippine archipelago is divided into 3 island groups: Luzon, Visayas, as well as Mindanao.
Not Mindanao, it's called Mindanao. I understand, it's called Mindanao.
Number 8 is Filipinos don't speak English. So when tourists visit the country of the Philippines, they're usually surprised at the fact that Filipinos, they actually learn English as their first language.
Yeah.
Most Filipinos also learn it alongside Tagalog growing up. Although some Filipinos will have a distinct accent while speaking English, English-speaking tourists will have little or no trouble at all communicating with them. And this actually leads us to our next.
That is actually true. If you're traveling the Philippines, everywhere you go, Filipinos can speak English. Mostly in towns and in cities around the Philippines, but if you go to rural parts of the Philippines, like in the provinces, that's where you'll find that most Filipinos, the English speaking skills is not really that good, but they can speak few English words. But anyway, continue.
And this lie is that Filipinos only speak Tagalog. This lie and misconception is similar to the idea that Chinese people speak Chinese, when in fact they speak a wide variety of languages like Mandarin, Cantonese, etc.
That is absolutely true.
Tagalog is one of many dialects spoken in the country.
If you come to the Visaya areas, you will mostly hear the people speaking Bisaya. It's called Cebuano, not a form of language here in the Philippines. I think the eastern part of the country speaks Waray. That's where Leyte is, Samar, I guess. And if you go to Mindanao, there's actually a lot of languages there, but mostly parts of Mindanao they speak Bisaya. But generally, like Philippines, the rest of the Philippines, they can speak Tagalog. So, I mean, if you're a Tagalog speaker from parts of Manila, if you come to Cebu, you can still communicate with Filipinos in Tagalog here in Cebu. If you go to Mindanao, you can still communicate with Tagalog speakers in Mindanao. So, I mean, Tagalog is like the national language here in the Philippines. Continue.
Government, we adopted Tagalog, elevating its status as a national language of the Philippines, also calling it Filipino. And it has since become mixed with other existing Philippine dialects, as well as foreign languages like English and Spanish. Now, when it comes to native languages and dialects, there are more than 200 in the entire country. Number 6, all Filipinos share the exact same culture. So, being an archipelago, like I mentioned earlier, historically there was...
You can see that one. That's the parade here in Cebu during Sinulog. I actually had a vlog about that. I'll put the link on the description so you guys can go check it out. It's actually a annual ceremony here in Cebu City. Not Cebu City, but the rest of Cebu and other parts of probably like Bisaya and other parts of the Philippines. Yeah. But mostly it's done here in Cebu.
Philippines to refer to. The different groups of islands being separated by large bodies of water, they contain their own distinct culture and language and traditions. Because of this, they were very distinct from each other. So then the movement for unite.
Yeah, guys, so what he mentioned there is actually true. There's actually like different cultures within the regions of the Philippines. I tell you, the culture in Manila is actually different from Cebu. So in Cebu, like people, when it comes to drinking with mates, people actually drink Red Horse. Like people really love to drink Red Horse. But if you go to Manila, people actually really love to drink San Mig Light. That's actually like you can really tell the difference between people in Manila and here in Cebu. Also in Cebu, I find it more like Cebuanos are more friendlier than the people in Manila. I've been to Manila, and Manila people, they are friendly in some ways, but they are not really that open and friendly compared to the Cebuanos. Yeah, that's how I see it, guys. You might not agree with my opinion, but that's how I see it. So anyway, continue.
United Philippines didn't come until the arrival of the Spanish, which was much later on though. Alright guys, to reach halfway in this episode, we have 5 more lies to look at. And for more info, lie number 4 is Manila is the main business district. And this is something that I thought as well, not gonna lie. Contrary to what many foreigners think, most of the embassies and big firms, banks, and insurance companies, they're actually located in Makati and Taguig City. Makati and BGC are located within the greater Manila area. Now, Manila is the capital city of the Philippines, and it is one of the most populated cities.
Fun fact, guys, the actual capital city of the Philippines was Cebu. That was when the Spaniards first came here in the Philippines. They established Cebu as the capital of the Philippines. But because of the strategic location, they find Manila as more strategic than Cebu, so they had to move everything to Manila. So yeah, that's the fun fact. If you think I'm lying, go read history about the Philippines and Cebu City. Continue.
But it is not necessarily where all the main action happens. Number 3, have you heard this one before? Dog meat is regularly eaten and served. Okay, all right. So, no. They don't sell dog meat in Filipino supermarkets and grocery stores.
No, I've never seen.
In Philippines it's a very taboo topic, and there actually are a few small groups.
I've never heard of Filipinos eating dogs.
Of the country,
I've never heard of that.
Mountain province, where indigenous people as well as their ancestors have had a history of eating dog meat. But you're not gonna be finding it at restaurants or in grocery stores just like that. No, it doesn't exist.
No.
Number 2,
I don't know.
Filipinos date foreigners for money and papers. All right, guys. So these ideas are largely perpetuated because of shows like 90 Day Fiancé. Let's be honest, okay? But not all Filipinos dream of becoming an American or British citizen or whatever. Some just love to travel and meet new people along the way. Just because Filipinos date and marry foreigners also doesn't mean that they're just looking for visa applications, making that whole process easier and everything.
That's
Filipinos,
true.
they can afford to fund their own travels themselves, get their visas, and do their jobs in foreign countries, so they don't necessarily need a foreign partner to do so. Marrying a Filipino actually does not mean that the foreigner has to support the Filipino's family either. You know, there's a lot of times where people move overseas and it's like, okay, well, you got to send money back to my family.
It depends. To me, I guess it depends on
to label Filipinos with that stereotype. And yes, so it is a sad reality that because they date foreigners, it's assumed that they're just gold diggers. But if you actually think about it, just because someone dates somebody from a foreign country doesn't mean that that person is rich either. So yeah, something to think about there. And now moving on to our biggest lie in this episode, Philippines. It's a very dangerous country. Now, we've all seen
No, it's not. It's actually a beautiful country with beautiful people.
War on drugs, among other struggles that they have in the country.
That's what Philippines.
This has led foreigners to think
that's
that
the
Philippines is a place
the main mode of
criminals
transport
and
here in the
kidnappers
Philippines.
Everywhere. Now, there are, of course, several unfortunate issues in the country, but overall, away from the hotspots of criminal activity, there are many beautiful places and safe places that you'll see in the Philippines.
Okay, just to add my point to that topic, Philippines is dangerous. I think most of the Western media and people from other country, I probably think the Philippines is dangerous because of the Marawi war that was going on. I think 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, there was actually a war that was happening here in the Philippines, not the rest of the Philippines, but actually in part of Mindanao. There are Marawi, it's called Marawi, the town of Marawi. So there was actually a war there between the Philippine military and some local terrorist groups that have been affiliating themselves with ISIS, and they have been fighting under the ISIS banner. So generally the Philippines is actually safe, really safe. It's safer than my country, to be honest. I used to just walk around here in Cebu most of the time during nighttime. Like nighttime, I could actually walk. I used to walk around here night after 12 or probably 3 a.m., 4 a.m. I used to just go out and jog around. And the Philippines is actually safe. It's not that dangerous like what the media or people from other countries to say.
Not just the resorts designed for tourists, but many local places as well. Completely safe. All right, guys, so this concludes this episode. This was a look at 10 of the biggest lies about the Philippines. Hope this helped clear up some misconceptions. The country of the Philippines and Filipinos, they are an amazing group of people. Here at FTV Facts, we do our best to show love and appreciation to all peoples in our world. Really hope you guys enjoyed this one. Leave a like if you did. Don't forget to check out the recommended video. I'll link to it again in the video description section. And until next time, guys, stay awesome, stay educated. I'll see you in the
So that is the Philippines, guys. That is actually 10 biggest lies about the Philippines, the country. I've been here for 5.5 years, and I'm gonna say Philippines is actually a country that I would really love to. I'm considering to just settle here, and and if you want me to react to any more other videos about the Philippines or just any videos, comment down below. I'll be happy to do so. And I'll see you guys with another video. Peace out.